Welcome back to Common Knowledge, the show where I'm taking a look at some common Magic the Gathering cards, and I'm telling you, are these any good for the Pauper format? The answer is usually no, but sometimes, every once in a while, we'll get one that is. Let's see if today is that day. We'll start with Jund Sojourners. For Jund mana, black, red, and green, you get a 3/2 Lizard Shaman. And when you cycle this card, and when this creature dies, you may have it deal 1 damage to any target, and it cycles for 2 and a red. Not very good. Not particularly good. 3 mana, especially when it's 3 separate color pips to play it. I feel like you got to be a better card then. We have cards from Legends that you go back and you go, wow, why? And I feel like we've generally learned our lesson that we know it's hard to get 3 different colors of mana. Generally pretty hard to get 3 different colors of mana to play these cards. You gotta play a very specific deck or have the fixing in your deck that can make things not as smooth. You know, you might not necessarily get this out on turn 3 because it's difficult to find the swamp, the mountain, and the forest. Even with dual lands, it's tough to make that work. And yet, you've jumped through those hoops. You've figured out how to do it. And now what do you get for your trouble? You get a 3/2 that when it dies, it does damage to a thing. The best thing about the card's the cycling. And the cycling's not even very good. You have other better cyclers that you can play. I don't like it. I don't really like it at all. I will give it a 1.4. That feels high to me. I really don't like this card. It is one of my big pet peeves in Magic. We don't see it a whole lot in Pauper because there's not a whole lot of gold cards that will cost 3 different pips in Pauper, but I really do not like restrictive mana costs that don't give you a significant boost for that. You know, the card has to be really good to tell me I have to play 3 different colors, especially when you're talking about common stuff. I know, like, when Commander comes in and you think about legendary creatures that can be your commander, oh, it's really nice that it has more colors. Now I can play more different kinds of cards. Sure, I get that. That's not this. This thing is just a bad card that costs a very difficult cost. That sucks. I really don't like that. So what did I say? 1.4? Should be 1.3. Let's move on. Wishful Merfolk is 1 and a blue for a 3/2 Merfolk with Defender. And for 1 and a blue, this creature loses Defender and becomes a human until end of turn. So you can pay that cost. Well, I guess only you can pay that cost. It would say opponents can pay that cost, but opponents aren't paying that. Okay. From Throne of Eldraine, you get it. You get the reference. I don't need to say what the reference is, right? Not that great. It's pretty bad. We get a lot of blue cards that do this. You know, something that has Defender that can pay a cost or has some kind of trigger that makes it lose Defender for a turn. Very rarely are any of those cards worth writing home about. This is certainly not one of them. This card is pretty bad. We will give it a. I think I will give this a 1.4. Which makes me even more want to say the other one was a 1.3 because I hate it even more than this. And I don't like this either. Burrington Shieldbearers is 4 and a white for a 3/3 Kithkin Soldier. When this creature attacks, or whenever this creature attacks, target creature gets +0/+3 until end of turn. That's not that great. From Morningtide, Kithkins. I like Kithkins. Do I? I think Kithkins are okay. Let's temper the excitement around Kithkins. I'm not the biggest fan of Kithkins, but they're fine. A 3/3 that gives something else. Oh, this just says target creature. So this is essentially a 3/6 that sometimes can just be a 3/3 if you want to hopefully make one of your other attacking creatures a lot better or survive combat better. Okay, I guess. I don't think it's very good. I don't think it's very good at all. Let's go for a 1.5. These have been some real bad cards. Hey, here's a good card. It's Fog. Have we done Fog? I feel like we've done Fog. We've almost certainly, yes, we've definitely done Fog, because I think I've done this before, where I've talked about the 6th edition / Mirage one being my favorite Fog. God, I love this art. I love this. I love that art of Fog. I think maybe the artist is not a great dude, but I do love that Fog. Okay. Anyway, Fog's great. You should play Fogs. Fogs are good. There's a whole deck format archetype that's about playing Fogs. And even still, I think Fogs are a lot better than people give them credit for. But we've done Fog before. Let's move on to Guard Duty. Okay. Can we go back to Fog? 1 white mana for an enchantment aura that enchants a creature. Enchanted creature has Defender. It's half a pacifism, and it costs half as much as a pacifism. I mean, it's the good half of pacifism, but we have a better card than this. It's from, is it from Weatherlight? Maybe, like there's one. God, what is it from? It's well, let's, you know what? Let's check. There's ways of doing this. So it's a white card, and it's an aura. We know that. And I remember it says can't attack, but it also has Threshold. Boom. Qatar's Desire from Odyssey. There you go. Qatar's Desire. Yeah. So a creature can't attack. Same thing. Basically has Defender. But then it also has Threshold. Enchanted creature can't block as long as you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard. So this is better. And this is a whole lot older. But you don't play this either, do you? No, you don't. But Guard Duty, I would say even worse. The only thing, not attacking and not being able to attack and having Defender are 2 different things. They're extremely similar, but they are 2 different things. Sometimes it matters that a creature has Defender. Sometimes there will be cards that reference that. Usually it's more of you want your creatures to have Defender because maybe you've got something that says tap and add a green for every creature you have with Defender. That gets used. That gets used in a lot of decks, spy decks specifically, but in some other decks as well. I guess you wouldn't want to play Guard Duty on those creatures, but you wouldn't want to play Guard Duty on those creatures to begin with because they already have Defender. This card sucks. This card really sucks. I'm going to give it a 1.1, and we'll never think about it again. Zombie Outlander is Dimir colors, blue and a black, for a 2/2 zombie scout with protection from green. So it's a grizzly bear with protection from green. And is that worth having 2 different colored pips? No. The answer is no. I don't know where you'd play this exactly. I guess it's a sideboard card, right? It would be a sideboard card. But are you really that worried about green? I don't think so. Because, like, what are you... I guess you're stopping some creatures, but trample still goes through protection. So it doesn't really help there. I guess you're stopping a ram through or some kind of fight spell or bite spell. Nah, because if you're black or blue, you have other ways of getting around that. You kill the creature with a cast down before the fight resolves, and then nothing happens. You use an unsummon, bounce it back to their hand before the fight resolves. So I don't think you need a creature that's protection from green. I mean, sure, I guess you could swing in for damage and can't be blocked, but nah, there's better things you can do. This is pretty bad. We will give it a 1.3. No, 1.4. Again, it's better. It's better than that Jund thing we saw at the beginning. Shattered Ego is a single blue mana for an enchantment aura that enchants a creature. Enchanted creature gets -3, -0, and you can pay 3 and double blue to put enchanted creature into its owner's library, third from the top. This is a lot like the guard duty, right? You know, the creature can still attack, but now it has less power. Probably taking it down to 0 if you're playing this on something. So then it might as well have defender at that point. You do have the ability to like super time ebb, I guess. You're not just putting it on the top, you're putting it third from the top. So you are halfway screwing up somebody's draw at some point. You're potentially getting this creature out of your way for a couple of turns if it's like a really scary creature to you. But you've also paid 6 mana over 2 instances to do that. I don't think that's very good. I think this is actually kind of a bad card. Yeah. It doesn't I think this would need flash for me to even start halfway considering it. But it doesn't. So I'm not going to halfway consider it. I will give it a 1 point. I'm going to give it a 1.2. I really don't like it. And this has been a dire episode of Common Knowledge. Something's got to save us here. Will it be Venerated Teacher? I don't think so. Venerated Teacher is 2 and a blue for a 2/2 human wizard. When this creature enters, you put 2 level counters on each creature you control with level up. Oh, no. Oh, that's funny. I've never seen this card before. I've seen some cards with level up. I don't think any of them really get played in Pauper. It's cute though. I didn't realize there was a way to put level up counters on a creature that was not just paying the level up costs. That's fun. This is bad. This is bad. I'm gonna give it a 1. This is truly heinous. Yeah, that's a terrible Magic card right there. I mean, if the environment was filled with level up creatures that were incredible in Pauper, okay, maybe. Still, though, this is a very bad Magic card, and we don't live in that world where there's a lot of level up creatures. Aquastrand Spider is 1 and a green for a 0/0 spider mutant with Graft 2. This creature enters with 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and whenever another creature enters, you may move a +1/+1 counter from this creature onto it. And then you can pay a green, and target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it gains reach until end of turn. This is originally from Dissension. Original Ravnica block. Good times. I like Graft. I think Graft is a really cool ability. And I wish they'd bring it back in a bigger way than they have. I like 0/0 creatures that come into play with 1/1 counters on them. I think you can do some fun things with that. I like that Graft both works on your creatures and your opponent's creatures. You know, you wouldn't want to do it with this creature, but there's at least one blue creature. It's not a common, but it's like a wizard kind of guy, girl who it's got Graft on it. So when an opponent plays a creature, you can put one of its +1/+1 counters on it, and then it has an ability that gains control of a creature with a +1/+1 counter on it. I think that's what it says. So it's a way of stealing your opponent's creatures. Which is sweet. I love that. That's super cool. And Graft allows for that. Graft allows for some politicking stuff in Commander of, you know what? You can have this +1/+1 counter as long as that creature doesn't attack me. And I think that's fun stuff too. But I mainly just like playing with +1/+1 counters. I like that these guys kind of give abilities. These work really well with a lot of the like the Abzan cards that say, hey, anything with a +1/+1 counter on it has flying. Anything with a +1/+1 counter on it has trample. Those kinds of cards. You'll see a lot of those. I just remember them from Abzan, like Abzan Falconer and things like that. So that's cool. I think there's a lot of cool design space with Graft. We just don't see it very much, and I think that's a bummer. Dissension was a pretty small set. We didn't get a ton of stuff with Graft, and I feel like there's not a ton of Graft. In fact, again, we have this technology here. Graft. Tell me about cards with Graft. I'm just looking for any cards with Graft. 13 cards with graft. Do all these actually have graft? Yes. Yes, all these things actually have graft. So there are only 13 cards with graft. That's not enough. That's not enough. This is the manipulators. That's the one I'm talking about. Gain control of target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it, as long as Cytoplast Manipulator remains in play. I think that card's awesome. I think Plaxcaster Frogling is awesome. These are not common cards, though. The Squirter, Helium Squirter, which is fun to say. That's a pretty good one. And for Pauper, that's about it. A lot of these are pretty bad. Pretty bad. Although, the Graft Mage might be something if you can have a creature that taps for some good mana and potentially get infinite mana that way. Anyway, all that beside the point. I think this is a really cool mechanic. I wish they'd bring it back in a bigger way. This creature itself is not that great though. It's a grizzly bear. Again, it's a 2-mana 2/2. With some fun upside. You can buff up 2 of your creatures with this eventually. And this dies, but that's not terrible. Death triggers might be something for you. And in the meantime, you can give some stuff reach if it needs it. Weird that this thing, I guess it's not weird because you can just pay it to make this thing gain reach, but I kind of wish that this thing had natural reach and then it was able to give other things reach. Anyway, I'm spending too much time on a card that is actually not very good. It just makes me think about better things. Let's give it a 2. Just give it a 2. That's fine. Stomper Cub is 3 in double green for a 5/3 beast with trample. That's it. That's also a 2. That's also a 2. Not that great. Compulsory Rest is 1 and a white for an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature. Enchanted creature can attack or block. And enchanted creature has to pay 2 and sacrifice this creature. You gain 2 life. What a terrible thing to add to a passive effect. Why? Why would you do that? Because you're playing this on your opponent's creatures 99% of the time. And then it's just a pacifism. Okay. But then you're giving the opponent the opportunity to sacrifice and gain some life. And if it can't attack or block, I guess it's worth it to them sometimes to just sacrifice it. And then it's in their graveyard. Maybe they can do more with it in their graveyard. So the other idea is that you can play this on your creature. And then you can sacrifice your own creature, I guess, and gain some life. And maybe you get death triggers. Maybe that's where you're using it. Maybe it's not 99% of the time you're putting it on an opponent's creature. But also, when you sacrifice the creature, this also goes to the graveyard. It's not like this goes back to your hand. It's not like you can... If this went back to your hand like a rancor effect, and then you were able to... reanimate creatures, or you just made a bunch of tokens or something, so you can play this, sacrifice a creature, gain a little bit of life, get a death trigger. This goes back to your hand, play it again, and keep that loop going. Maybe, because this gives a creature a way to sacrifice itself. It's a sacrifice outlet. That's a very costly one, but a sacrifice outlet nonetheless. That could be kind of cool, but it doesn't have that capability. So I really just scratch my head and wonder, why would you make a card like this? I think it's bad. I think it's a 1.2. And I guess we'll do a bonus card. I really hope it's better than all the garbage we've seen so far today. Lost in a Labyrinth is a single blue mana for an instant. Target creature gets -3/-0 till end of turn, and you scry 1. That's bad. That's bad. We have creatures that do something similar to this. Do we have creatures that give -3? I know we have creatures that give -2. They might give -3. Let's Humble Elder. What? Humble something? It's called Humble, isn't it? No, it's not. Not the one I'm thinking of. Elder. It's gonna be a lot of Elders out there. The hell's the card I'm thinking of? Humbling Elder. Oh my god. Gross. Okay, yeah, this gives -2, not -3. I think there's something that gives -3, but it doesn't really matter. The creatures with flash that do this are sometimes used in the fairies decks, sometimes pretty effectively, but those decks don't play this because you like a creature with flash because then you can attack the next turn and potentially flip it into a ninja. Like that's why you play that in fairies. This is kind of a whatever combat trick. It's not very good. It's like a 1.6, I guess. Which is better than a lot of the garbage we've seen, but not very good. I want to do another bonus card. We're going to give you another shot. Okay, okay. Elfsworn Giants 3 and double green for a 5/3 giant. We saw a 3 and double green 5/3. That one had trample. This one has reach, but it also has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, put a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token, or create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. It's just so expensive. It's so expensive to get on the table. My real problem with expensive things with landfall is that by the time you have 5 mana, you might be out of cards. How many more lands are you playing? Do you even want to play those lands? Do you hold those lands back to make your opponent think you have something? Do you hold those lands back because you're playing against some kind of discard deck? Maybe, I don't know. There's all sorts of reasons to not play more lands once you have enough out. Yes, this guy has a landfall trigger, so you're probably playing those lands. But that's kind of my point. Like this guy is putting you in a position where you have to play those extra lands that sometimes you might not even have to just get the value out of this guy. And I think you could just do better things without this guy in your deck. I think he might actively be harmful to your deck. And that's not very good. 5/3 reach is okay. And has the potential to make a lot of little dudes. But he's just so expensive in Pauper for sure. I don't really like him. He's better than any of the things we've seen. I'm gonna give him like a 2.3, I guess. So nice that we had something that cracked the twos and was more than just a 2 flat. But this has been a bad episode today. Sorry you got to see that. We'll catch you next time, I guess. Bye.